Just so you know, I'm making sure they can hear us first. We're live.
You're what? Okay. Hello and welcome to Griefers Pub. I'll be your host, Ed, along with my good friend Elder. And just give him a second to kind of not say anything. So tonight we're going to be briefly recapping last week's PvP meta builds and how changes in the upcoming 4.0.1 will impact loadout choices. So we're going to actually go over to that really quick. I've got it up. We've got the patch notes from 4.0.1. This is where PTU. And while we review these, we're just going to ask ourselves this. What exactly is changing in 4.0.1 and what will affect and will that affect any changes to chip metas? So the big thing that I've actually got it highlighted all the way down here, features and gameplay. IR and EM class modifiers, adjustments to slightly reduce impact of stealth components.
Yep.
And
noticeable, especially on these
slightly reduce impact is putting it lightly, because if we go into here, I've got a full window here. Thanks to Mira for compiling all these together this afternoon. It's going to be a lot of, okay, it's just like you got to really use those glasses to see them. So the snow blinds, if you look at this, have been increased by 87% for EMs, and then IRs.
The snow
86%.
blinds are the coolers, right?
Yeah, these are the coolers. So if you see cooler, power, and then shields are.
Oh, is it across the board too? Is it snow blind, snowfall? Yep. Those are all coolers on the top.
Yep, these are all coolers on the top. So it's all nicely organized. So it's easier to kind of like keep track of, right? You know what I mean? Yes. So with that being said, if you look down, the slipstreams or the power has been increased by about roughly 60% for IR, and then EMs 86%.
So I never really understand how to read these. I feel like what is that? So that 1880 to 3500. Mm-hmm. What is that? That's the EM signature.
That's the signature.
What? Well, hold on.
It's the power output. It's probably the power output. That's probably what it's actually like putting in. I don't know. I'm not.
No, because under its
actually,
signature.
I don't know. Yeah.
no, actually, yeah. Under it is his signature, right? Oh, okay, all right.
Correct.
So that's power output. Okay, then.
Yep.
When we're looking at Mirage, what is that then? Nominal 134 to 250
is going to be the shields. This is also signature.
Oh, it's base added EM sig of the ship. I don't know, man. Whenever so what happens a lot of times is like people in the org will like post these, literally these.
They'll be like, "What the hell is this?"
And I'll look at them and I'll be like, whatever. I'll see how it looks when I'm actually using the ship in the in the verse, because I just reading these charts. Oh my goodness, it's painful
and then
for me.
These are size 2s, and then these are going to be the military. We'll get to that in a second. So size 2s have been increased by about actually it looks like, hang on a second, this was decreased by about 25% for the coolers. The Eclipse is increased by 87% and 60% for EM and IR, and then your shields increased by 87% and 60%. Why do you think they would do that? Do you have any speculation there, Elder?
What they would do? What? I'm sorry, I was coughing.
Why do you think they would increase the signature of the stealth components in the first place?
Guaranteed people were complaining.
Yeah.
But certain labeled individuals that
you can just say Bob's. It's okay to just say Bob. We can say Bob.
So certain individuals within the community were probably making complaints about the fact that stealth components, Bob is an okay slur to say, stealth components are too OP, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, honestly, those same people probably should be flying around with stealth ships to begin with, because if they want to play alone, well, I guess it depends on what you're doing as well, but hey, Duncan. But it depends. Yeah, but
it is one of those things where, they would benefit from the same exact loadouts, right? Having full stealth components. Like, say I'm running this on like a Star Lancer. I found out we can get it down to about 10 clicks, which is insane for a ship that large. It doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any. But but what's the cross section on the?
The cross section is going to be the largest signature there. Yeah.
But the thing is, oh, excuse me. The irony of it is that those same people that are probably complaining have been very very heavily leaning on Firebirds, right? And now Firebirds are going to be detectable at a closer range, which means they're
Mm-hmm.
have a high risk of getting shot out of the sky.
That's
Although,
you know
is it just me or is
honestly
it
that's okay.
Firebirds a bit more tanky than they should be? Like they literally missile
Kind of feels
ships.
like it.
It does. Like I unload into
Yep.
them, get through their shields if they're using shields, depending on
Are you
what
saying
kind
in
of.
comparison to like a standard saber or just on its own? Does it feel like they have like a little bit more health
Just
pool?
on its own. I'm not like really comparing it. Like I'm not saying as opposed to because it's really its own class of a ship. Realistically, I mean, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could compare it to what a Shrike.
Yeah.
Shrike is pretty
I mean,
tanky.
Shrike
Oh,
Shrike compared to Talon, and then Saber compared to, you know,
you know
the other.
what? I kind of want to bring it up. So I kind of want to bring
What's
it up
up?
just real quick and see what the hit points is of the Shrike and
Yeah,
the
we could do that.
Firebird.
Do you want to?
I'm bringing up the Shrike right now, and I'm just gonna read it
Yeah,
off real quick. Talon
sure.
Shrike. Um, where's the max speed? No. What am I looking for here? Yes. The hell is all this? I don't know where to look. I can't find the overall hit
I would look
points.
it up, but I've already got a few things set up.
Oh,
So do
here
you
it
want to
is.
come back to that,
Yeah, the
or do you
Talon
have it?
Strike is 18,730 total. Oh, I guess overall points, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then if we're looking at the Firebird, is it gonna let me select a ship or what? And then if we're looking at the Firebird, oh shit, here we go again. Firebird, we're looking
It's a lot of
at
numbers. I know you're
15.
just like, wait, the numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Like that's going through
The
your head right
mercy,
now, right?
the numbers, Mason. Numbers. Actually, the
Yeah, yeah.
Firebird only has 15,000 hit points,
Okay.
15,500, as opposed to the Strike, which honestly makes more sense. But it feels tanky. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels tanky.
That could just be bad aim.
It's not bad. I'm talking about when I'm hitting them. I'm not like, oh, why is this thing so tanky while I'm missing every
Yeah.
shot? Like then
Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
All right. So trying to get back on topic. I don't want to like derail as much as we did last week because we got a few complaints. Maybe we should rename it Meme Pub because we were like, getting
Meme
off
pub.
task too much. I mean, it's not too bad of a name. So the other change that they made was they decreased the military by about 31% for coolers just across the board there, 20% for um, IR, and then 31% for EM for the power plants. Oops. And then the shields themselves, oh my God. The shields themselves look like they're negative 20% just across the board there as well for EM
Yeah.
and IR.
Well,
Does it really make a difference if we switch over? It doesn't look like they announced any changes for like the overall health pool for, military components. So
no,
I
because
think
the
we're
thing is
still
too
running
is
competition, right?
yeah, basically, right? But I think at some point the actual overall hit points of the components probably will mean something, but I
Okay.
and I did want to mention too, so like somebody mentioned like the fact that we're picking these components, they have low hit points on the components. Well, through practice, and people in the org also convinced me, right? They were like, man, you're not going to really have that problem where your components are getting shut down too often. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's like the risk to reward of getting more hit points on your components isn't worth it because with the my back is so itchy with the hit
I
points
can tell. You're just like
yeah
scratching it on
with the
the blanket
risk of
fort right now, right?
so damn itchy. The I'm sorry, the risk of getting hit by missiles because you have a higher EM, right? That's a higher risk. I don't care. If you have a lower TM, if you have a lower I can't. You know why I can't get a thought out? I can't do it. That's it. Yeah, it's just not worth it. I'll just tell you that. Like more times am I
Okay.
blown up
For
to missiles hitting me than I am. I'm getting so
Mhm.
itchy. More times am I
Yeah.
blown up to missiles hitting me than I am losing my components to those missiles, basically,
So
or
the
damage.
real like deciding factors when it comes to like creating a ship build right now. We discussed this last week, kind of a recap. DPS output and capacitor count is a huge one. Output is going to be one that I add this week, because having the competition for power output might mean that you have like better like capabilities for the options. Say you're running quantum interdiction or like some other kind of ship, right?
Yeah.
Where you have to dedicate that power to that.
Yeah.
Stealth, shield, health pool, application of fighter. That's another topic. But then, lack of cooler systems also comes into play there. With that being said, we did get around to testing some of that this afternoon. Did you want to look through some of those videos together and we can kind of take a look at that?
Yeah, I'm down for that. But yeah, so I mean, basically, we're at it. I feel like with like the selection of components and the power management, that kind of is non-existent. But like the worrying about like power and stuff like that really is still it's in its infancy. So there's not like a whole lot going on, in my personal opinion.
I'd agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still a lot that like comes into play. So we'll start off with the stealth gladius. I can just click on this, go a little bit faster here.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So basically we tested it. This is two different tests, right? So first of all, we're checking to see from the flat side, because we want to also include the cross section in the test. What is this? A full stealth Gladdy?
This is full stealth gladi, correct?
Okay. It's kind of difficult to see though. 2.3 clicks.
Did I just hear you say enhance? So I'll read off the number if you want. I didn't realize it was going to be this like small on the screen. That's what she said.
Yeah. So basically, what we did was we made sure that we had it from a zero EM background interference. Now we all know that the game is flawed, I think, or not perfect in some of this stuff. It is definitely better than what it used to be. At one point, stealth just did not matter, and now it does. And now it's a big factor as to whether you're going to survive or not, even. But there you go.
Okay, so right about there is when. So about 55 seconds, 54 seconds, it was about like 8.7, 8.9. 8.8 is when it like kind of cut off right there.
Yeah. So that's a full stealth build on a Gladi too, right?
That is, yeah.
Or is that a hybrid?
Full stealth. That was full stealth. This is full stealth.
Anyway. And I think in that test too, we checked to make sure whether it made a difference to cross section. With the Gladi, I believe when it pointed at me, see I'm on the top right there.
It's about the same, right?
Yeah, I think so. Look, there's no change. So the cross section.
I don't know if that's like an issue with AC or what's going on there, because I feel like it should have a little bit more of a difference there.
It should make a difference.
So I'm not sure. So this is the hybrid Gladi. This one had a larger signature when we kind of like looked at it. Again, testing from the pancake first to see if there's going to be a cross-section difference. In some of the ships, it actually did reflect some like change, but for the most part, it should be that when you're like facing toward another ship in stealth, you're showing the least amount of your ship, or like your like physicalized ship, right? So that's the cross-section.
Yeah.
And then because of that, we should have more, like stealth in that regard. It just doesn't reflect it in this test. And I wonder if that's, like you said, maybe something that's up with like experimental or.
Well, the strange thing about this test. Okay, where did it fall off on the last one? Was it 7 clicks also?
8.7.
8.7.
Yeah, this is a hybrid Gladi, right?
So this is hybrid.
7 clicks. Yep.
Yeah, 7 clicks falls off. So this isn't full stealth. This is what's it? The shields?
It's just the shields that are competition. They're the Yate or the Targas. I think it's the Targas, actually.
Targas, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. We did this based on all components you guys can buy, not the stuff you have to get from CZ. And realistically, the difference is hit points anyway of the components. So, but for some reason, not only does the hybrid have a higher stealth, a better stealth, right? But the cross section makes a difference.
It's crazy. I don't know.
So you're better.
This game makes absolutely zero sense sometimes, Which one do you want to do next? We didn't review the Saber last time. Do you want to go through that? Or the Talon? We'll just do it down in order, so we're not like losing track of stuff. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you didn't.
So we did 2 for the Talon. We did the hybrid and the full stealth.
Yep. This is thanks to Rev, by the way, for volunteering for this and giving us some like data. So that was a huge help this afternoon.
Yep. And hold on a second here. All right. So with the Talon, this is hybrid.
Oh, this is hybrid. Yeah. Sorry, I should have done stealth first. It was out of order.
No, that
Let me
doesn't
do
matter.
full stealth first. Yeah, no, it matters. Consistency.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter anymore because the consistency was already broken. So,
True. Very true.
all right. So we're looking at what, full stealth?
Full stealth right here.
All right. So I was using shadow play, right? And that was the
Yep.
first battle of anything. I was trying to get shadow play to continuously work.
Oops, I fucked this up. There we go.
That's cool.
A little bit more like clarity there.
So all right. What I'm
That's a good
getting off
question,
of this,
actually.
by the way, all right, how does cross section work again? Is the value of your MFD represented the widest angle of your ship? Wait, so
Yes,
how
it is
does
the
cross?
widest angle of the ship, because when you have like the front section, the cross section can be influenced by a few factors. I think it's primarily if you're like facing away from your enemy or like pancake. So if you're like showing more of your like whole body, it's going to be a higher cross section number. If
Yep.
you're showing like straight on with your enemy, you're going to be like the minimal cross section typically,
Typically,
depending on the ship too. Typically, there are some ships where if you're like in a certain like direction, it's going to be a lot like better. It just depends on like the overall like physical appearance of the ship.
yep. So basically, in these situations, if you're trying to come in on a Raven or a Talon or a Saber, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you're giving them the smallest visible point of your ship so you don't come up on
Yep.
radar. And I talked about this last time too. You want to be careful on the direction in which you approach. You don't want to fly straight on because they're gonna see your engines. They're gonna see the trail from your engines coming in, and
What's the trick to that? What's the
so
trick? How do you?
the
Is that
trick is to
OPSEC, or can you
fly.
share that?
No, it's not upside. It's to fly sideways, right? Fly sideways.
Like diagonal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
diagonally. You want to fly in a way that you're using anything but your back engines. So, and you can test this out. Like you can basically, if you want to see if your engines are showing up, press F4, zoom out, and you'll be able to see what they'll see from your engines. So it's a good way to
Mhm.
test it. But this is basically, if you're in a Glad or a Saber, we always gonna see you.
Is it
Wait,
because the stealth ship has giant fucking bright lights on it? Yes.
yeah, it doesn't help. It depends on the environment around it.
What if I'm just trying to get close to someone in my Razor? Which Razor? Probably
Yeah,
Razor EX if you're trying to be like stealthy, I'd assume, right?
yeah. Not only that, but like realistically, if you're in a Razor, that thing moves so quick anyway. You could get in and get out before they could do any real damage. You want to use change of direction, like it. So if they're gonna try to attack you, right? Make
Yeah.
sure you use a little maneuvering. Don't just fly away in a straight line. And
Hmm.
if you roll with no maneuvering, then you're still flying in a straight line. Like you're gonna be an easy target. But
You're just rolling in place. That's all you're doing. Exactly.
I wouldn't worry in a Razor. A Razor honestly is in and out, in and out. You're good.
Okay. Back to this. So Rev's signature, I think, dropped out at about like what 3.5 or 2.5. It was pretty like minimal, like
There was
surprisingly.
this is full stealth, right?
This
Where
is,
is it
yes, full stealth talent this time.
Now he's using
Okay,
the
there it is.
what was it? No, damn it. What was
So
the
using
name
grade
of
A.
grade A? Okay. Which one was that though for the power plant? So it
The
comes all
power
right,
plant
here's the
would,
thing. So I
yeah,
discovered that the slipstream is a grade A that comes stock with
it is
the
stock. Yep.
Talon.
There's
Did
a number of ships. There's actually a really good list that one of our guys posted the other week about
so
like component sourcing. That's really good for
just
that.
FYI though, the Delta Max, all right, on the Talon, I did a little digging though. The Delta Max is a grade B. You can purchase it in Stanton, and it will save you like point 0.1 or 2 off your EM. But it's more effective on something like the Saber or whatever it may be, something that has multiple um, power plants. So like I found that on
Hmm.
the Talon's actually no difference, but you
Right.
can buy it.
So the signature here, when we first see him like cut out, it was what? It was right there. 3.2. Oops. And all of a sudden 3.3 is what it was like from the pancake.
Yeah.
Let's try. I'm just gonna forward for the
Yeah,
sake
yeah.
of time. So this
So
is face on.
Oh, we're a
with the
little.
cross section.
So we're right around, what is that?
2.1. 2.1
2.1.
roughly.
So if you're
So the
facing your
cross section
target,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you off and getting excited
No,
because
go ahead.
we're
Say what you're
talking about
saying. Yeah.
stealth. So yeah, about like 2.1. So the cross section on this one is actually really good compared to even like the saber, which I want to do next because of that exact reason. But we're going to switch over to the hybrid talon.
Now I'm pretty sure. So in 4.0, the saber's king, isn't it? Like
Saber's pretty good, but I think they're like pretty like evenly balanced right now. I think the saber right now, if you have your shields on still, is about like 1.5 or like 2 kilometers. I think it's the same for the talon though. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Then here is the hybrid talon that we were testing out earlier today. And I'll get us to a good point where maybe it disappears. This one had a stronger signature, obviously, but it's almost enough to the point where I would say it's worth having those extra hit points.
All right. So
For this-
FYI, when we do say hybrid, we're adding shields to increase the shield pool. So in this case, we're using what instead of mirages, we were using the targets, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yep.
this is the difference is
And
adding stronger shields.
this is also very confusing. The Targas had a 3.0 as opposed to 3.1.
I don't understand
Aliens,
it.
right?
But
Aliens.
here's the difference, though. Cross section. How does it affect your cross section?
That's a really good question. Here, I'm killing a fucking Bob that was trying to like kill you guys while we were like testing. The entire time, he's just like charging you guys, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
get off, get your ass over here. 2.1, 2.2. Cross section on this one's a little bit larger. 2.3 is when it cuts out. So interesting.
There's not a whole lot of difference. So again,
No, not
targets
really.
is the difference. Now here's the other thing. If you're going to do the hybrid combination where you have the targets for the shields, you then need to make sure that you have the slipstream, which is a stock because it has one extra power point and it enables you to power everything. Nah, I disagree. We'll see about that. Also, note, you only need one cooler on the Talon.
Any of the ships, actually, for that matter.
Do you
just
though?
need one cooler?
I think it depends
Really?
on how many points the cooler offers too, though. For example, I don't think. Well, maybe you're right. But like on the Talon, I'm literally just putting one snowblind on, leaving the other slot empty.
Yeah. Athlete asks, is stealth dog water now? No, it is actually in a really good spot, but maybe a little too powerful in 4.0. And I think that's actually the reason why they implemented like these changes in the first place, was because it was too effective, right? So they wanted to like balance it out a little bit. Saber, let's do Saber next, and then we'll move on to the F7A. And the one that we forgot to record was the Mark II Ghost, which I wish we would have had the data for, but it's okay. Saber no shields. We'll do full stealth Saber first and see what that looks like.
Okay.
This one, if I remember correctly, was about like roughly 4 or 5 like clicks out for this one. It was still like pretty like visually like available for a while. This is Pancake, about 2.3 actually. I take that back.
Yeah.
So like full stealth Saber is not bad. But in like master modes, especially in like atmosphere, 2 clicks is a huge difference in like your enemy seeing
It's
you.
a
and
very
you being
large
effective.
difference. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, because
you got to. Yeah. What are we looking at? About 2 clicks on a Talon, you're still able to sneak in. When you're
but this is
when
out
you're
of like any effective like range of like fire. Like that doesn't make any sense. It's not any like benefit there.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing too. I just wanted to note this. So one of the things I notice is that sometimes the EM signature and like the where they show up on radar can be finicky. So sometimes it will be like they'll fall out at 3 clicks, but then when you start to push back in, they won't come back in until maybe 2. So sometimes, and that can also depend on the surrounding area, stuff like that. Now, it also depends on the radar of the ship that you're using as well. So some ships have better radars than others. We use it
like
as
right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
For a baseline, we use the size 1 radar just because this is a good like standard to kind of across the board kind of judge everything for, and then from there you can always expect that like a size 2 and a size 3, depending on the ship, would have like better radar capabilities and see you a lot faster, right? Or like from further away, they'll be able to see you.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those values will change in that regard too. But yeah,
There's
this one about like 3 clicks. That's when it cuts out, and then we tested the cross section here.
as opposed to like 2 clicks on the Talon, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
3 clicks here, 3 clicks it comes out. So the
okay.
pancake again, for whatever reason, was less. About the same. It was identical. Doesn't make any sense. The pancake
Yeah.
is what should show more, and that's the highest value that we were looking. When you're in the cockpit, it's actually like I think 2.5 and 1.5 for like EM and IR, if I remember correctly. We can review that in a little bit here though. So it's just something feels inconsistent. It might be AC. It's maybe the lack of like say the quantum drive in AC as well, because those values will change because you're less one component as well.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
noticeable difference too from like I
yeah,
was just in Squadron Battle and Saber was able to get real close until I could actually see the thing. So there's
yeah,
a noticeable difference between 4.0 and 4.0.1.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes this is going to be the hybrid saber when it ever loads in. Here it goes.
Now, was
Then
this
this is going to
another one
be,
where the cross section made a difference?
this is, yes, I believe. Let me get something closed out here. I think I've got too many like sources loading in the background here. My bad.
Oh, it's loading good now. Yeah.
It's at 720. That's why
Yeah.
I have like no clarity. We'll do 1080p.
He's
That
on
should be
he's
fine.
on dial up, by the way. So that's why. I mean,
Yeah. No, I've been having like
somebody
some
just picked
internet
up the
issues of some
phone.
sort today. For, I know. I'm streaming. Stop. Get off the. Never mind. So looking at this, when did it cut out? It was about like 4.5. I remember. Yeah, about 4.6 roughly with the
Oh,
pancake.
hold on. I'm
And you,
sorry. That's an interesting comment. Usually it's EM times 0.8 or 0.9, depending on the
sorry.
radar, except when the ship is not facing you or looking away. Then it's zero point 0.8 or 0.9. Hold on. Depending on the radar, except when the ship is not facing you. Okay.
So I do remember that the IR is a little stronger if you're facing away from your enemy because they can see the engines. From what I remember when we were testing like in earlier builds, I don't know if that's still the case. EM I thought was pretty consistent, but it could be wrong there. Again, this is stuff that we're still learning in the process too. So if you have something that you want to say there, I would love to
It is.
look into
Yeah.
that
It
at
is.
a later time. You know,
Yeah. It's
it's
also
interesting.
hard. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
difficult to know what the game is actually, if what's functioning properly in the game or not, too.
right,
You
exactly.
know?
Because it's so inconsistent with like performance and just like environments or like there's so many factors that come into play when it comes to this. Like you could be in like a cloud or you could be like closer to the ground or next to a larger, signature of something nearby that's interfering with that.
Yep.
And then this is when you first see me, it's about 3.4. Oh no, this is full pancake.
Yeah. Full pancake. This is the one where I'm pretty sure the cross section made a difference.
Yeah, because then you asked me
That's
to rotate down. It should be right about here. Let's give it a second. Or maybe didn't. No, this is one that we were just baffled by because I think it's still pancake the entire time. So maybe this is a bad take.
maybe interesting.
Okay.
I mean,
I
we
wouldn't
got
worry
the
about that one.
max on that. Was that the hybrid?
That was the hybrid, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
4.5 was the max on that one, if I remember numbers in my head. I could be wrong on that.
Hi,
What's
hey,
up, Hans?
Groofer. We also
With
we
us?
also tested out the saber with like turning off the shield, and it didn't
Yeah,
really
let's
make
bring that up.
a
That's a good
noticeable
one.
difference. I don't think.
It was like what, 1.52 kilometers for that one? That was pretty solid.
So his shields are down here. Where we at? Sorry, it's hard
2.6,
for me to see.
2.8, 2.9, and then 3 clicks. So this one's identical to having the shields on from the like full
Well, no,
stealth.
it did.
That,
I remember it did change because as your EM was starting to drop with the shields coming off, but it was
yeah.
minute. It was minimal, right? So it didn't make much of a difference.
Next one I want to check is we can skip stock F7A, but I really want to check out both the stealth and the hybrid F7As because I think that's going to be one that's going to be fairly common to see in the verse, and I think it's going to be one that we're going to see for a long time. Speaking of which,
Oh, she getting ads as a mod too. That's crazy. After these messages,
they've always had ads.
have
After
they?
these sponsored
I
messages.
remember the good old days when there was no ads, and then all of a sudden they started playing them at the beginning of videos, and now it's just it's ads galore.
Insufferable. So about
Yeah.
7 clicks for the full stealth F7A, and then when we're not doing pancake, this is facing nose to nose. I think it actually did pop off. I don't remember if it was this one or hybrid that dropped off a lot sooner.
What was that at?
So that was about 5.5, 5.4 roughly.
And what was it before? Go back.
7 clicks for the other one, but I'll show you.
For pancake, that was 7 clicks.
That was 7 clicks for the pancake. Yes, it just popped out. 7.1 roughly.
And that's full stealth.
Mm-hmm. Full stealth.
Okay, yeah. So you can get as close to old ass Elder and his. I remember the days.
I remember so back anyway. One day.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. So yeah, I mean that's actually pretty considerable considering in a ship that's not really built for stealth typically, right?
It's not intended, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree. What about hybrid? Let's take a look at that. So this is pancake.
Now, just as to throw it out there, hybrid's probably something you're going to want to run because you want your shields, right? This ship, you know, it's going to be visible from a distance. With the hybrid, you're going to have a decent EM. Do you remember what the EM was on the... Well, it doesn't matter. Let's just see. But with a decent EM, you can avoid some missiles. Yeah.
Yeah. This one will at least give you some like better advantages in the sky. Hang on. It just downgraded. This one, here's again, pancake view. We're going to switch over kind of about 6.7. That doesn't make any sense because the stealth was 7.1. Again,
on the cross section.
It's an alpha. I don't know, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to question it. I don't know if it was our AC session, but there was some weird shit going on the entire time. It was just...
It was tough because in this AC map, there were times when we would like hit these pockets of like EM interference. And we had to seek a spot that had no interference. So I know that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I know that if you look at the EM signature at the bottom left, if you guys can see it, it says 0. But anytime we went in nav, it would drop to 0 anyway. So.
So about like 6.7 on this one again. So I can't really explain it. It shouldn't work like that, but apparently, I think that was Targa's. If you remember what you equipped that with, the F7A is yours, so I don't remember the components that you had.
The components on the F7A. I mean, other than having all CF 33 and 447s, for the mixed build was the Targas, and then oh shoot, I'll tell you right now. Actually, I already.
It would have been like Cirrus. I actually can bring it up really quick.
Yep, Cirrus Vapor Block. All right, so the Cirrus power plant, Targa shields, and Vapor Block coolers.
We can actually just bring that up. I think it's slot number. That's the Ghost, which I do want to review. So here's the signatures for what it should have been actually. If I remember correctly, these should be set up. This is stock for some reason again. Let me switch it up really quick.
So hold on. There we are doing back in my day jokes. All right.
Back in my day. Yep.
How do you say it? Is it Tayak? Tayakataki? Am I saying that right? Tayaki Ataki? Sorry. Tayaki.
Keep butchering the name? Yep. That's a great way to make a good first impression.
Well, let me know if I forgive me. For one small fee of $9.99, I will pronounce it correctly. Back in my day, we had invisible ships. All right, so Taki, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so Taki says, does it make sense to run comp shields on half energy? You get full shields, only slow recharge. In Urkel, I can see a stat called resistance multiply. Do you know what that is? I'm pretty sure that has to do with the shield hardening. So when you have more points, not only does it recharge slower, but from my understanding, your shield can withstand more shots before coming down, if that makes sense. You could test So
Okay, so I've got the targets now set up and everything else. So this should be the signature for the F7A Mark II. It should be 2.2 and 6.1, which is actually, I think, reflective of like what we saw like a moment ago. So if you're like, say, running like full stealth, that'd be a different story. I'll get this set up while you're still talking. So go ahead and
he says, "Well, I'm still talking." He was talking.
while you're still talking, I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying something. You were like ranting about something in the background. I'm not sure what it was. We decided that like full stealth was not like ideal because you want to have that health pool for the shields, right? Like that's it seems counterintuitive to put a brawler with like such a like very vulnerable build, right? Let's see, vapor block, and then we'll do stealth B, Zephyr. So this should be the comparison. Like internally, it should be less. No, this why does it say it's the Gladius? Fuck.
No, honestly, Taki, that's
I
more
give
of
up.
Rocco, Taki was asking about what it means when when you have like half power in the shields, for example, and it says that the stat called resistant multiplier. That's more of an educated guess based on the how it was in the past. So basically, in the past, if you had power
Yeah,
into your shields, it would harden the shields, so that way they don't come down quite as quickly. So it's not just about recharge rates. Did I test it? No, I didn't. I guess I didn't specifically test it through experience. I mean, I always make sure there's just full power to shields. I mean, now you can build your ship. Uh, In my opinion, unfortunately, there's no power management outside of what you set them to begin with.
it's kind of a
To
set and forget kind of situation. Yeah,
It's a set and forget, which to me makes more sense to have this type of design. In fact, it's like the opposite with larger ships. So now larger ships feel like they rely a lot on maybe moving around power. In the smaller ships, you just have nothing, and now it's just aiming and shooting, which is to me meh. For the F7A,
okay.
that would be over 1 kilometer detect range, so it's kind of important.
Ooh, hey, Elder, these are some interesting
It's a
numbers here.
good point.
Take a look at this. So this
Well,
is the target, and then this is competition shields right here. It has a lower signature than full stealth. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
oh,
Can we?
interesting.
Is it because of the increase in the stealth components? Maybe that's why, right? Maybe it's more than the actual competition in like one component size. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at this later when I have more time to like
Oh, that's
break it down. And
interesting. Yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting. So, and it's obviously work. I mean, I would 100% anyway when it comes to something like an F7A. Even if you were gonna get like a little bit better of an EM signature with the F7A
oh,
on stealth
wait. I'm an idiot.
components. Oh, you're in 4.0.
I was in 4.0. Yep. That would
So you're
make a lot
comparing
of sense.
4.0 to 4.1.
Yeah, like
Okay.
an idiot. Hang on,
Wait,
hang
hold
on.
on though. Check to
So
see
this
if
is full
it's.
stealth. Let's do the competition targets now and see if it's actually still the same. 7.9. It should be much more, but it doesn't reflect that
Yeah.
when we're in AC. I don't
Yeah,
know.
true. That's true. Yeah. Set and forget until you're in battle in a different server and have to set it again. It hasn't been that bad, honestly.
Set and forget until you have to like swap from like nav to SEM and reset everything on the
Yeah.
fly, two
My I
kilometers away from the enemy. You know?
if you build it correctly, you should have enough typically have enough power to power everything anyway. So if you
Yeah, I
use
agree.
your quick keys, which is F5, S6, and F7, which is
Mhm.
shields, and then
Like the set the
weapons.
max, right?
Yeah, you can just like use those quickly to put the power back in instead of having to
I
hold
bound
F
them
and
all
then
to
click
R
into it.
because then it just automatically
Yeah, okay, there you
shuffles
go.
them into spot.
I have
That's
them
it's
bound to my
less
stick.
to like think about.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have it bound to the stick,
Mr.
but
Flight.
honestly, but anyway, when you're jumping from server to server, now the only thing you really seem to be losing is decoys. You
Yep.
got to reset your decoys. Other than that,
Yep.
which is a problem because if you're like in a guardian and you need
Can you
decoys
imagine?
because yeah, you're like, why am I only shooting one off at a time?
hmm So something I want to look at again, 4.0 changes. This is the exact same build. Let me make sure it's not like full stock. It reset everything, so everything that I did before stream for some reason is not reflective.
Yeah, just switch it
Let
out real
me
quick. You can even type in
give me
the
yeah.
under the filter. You can type it.
I know. I'm just
Is it not working? It doesn't work.
Works as well as the game right now.
Designed by CIG.
Designed by CIG.
It's hilarious. But no, I was gonna say, Taki,
anyway,
though,
yeah, go
honestly,
ahead.
with the F7A, that 1 kilometer detect range isn't. I mean, when you're in an F7A, you're not looking specifically to be huge in stealth. What you're specifically looking for is to become less of a missile magnet. When people see an F7A coming at them, that's one of the main targets for like Firebirds and stuff like that. They want to get it out of the fight because it does heavy damage. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. You get a specific link when you click save loadout with save components. That's true.
I did have those set up before, but then you know what? I forgot to keep those. So guess what? Oops. For next time, that we never do this again.
Yeah.
Those were.
Well, yeah. For next time, that's never gonna happen again. It'll happen at the 0.2.
0.2 patch. Yeah.
No, yeah, we won't be doing that. Actually, we're actually upcoming. We're going to be talking about flight model with some individuals from a specific org.
Which org? You can just say it.
From,
you can just say it. It's fine. It's not like it's a secret or anything. We're going to be having a couple guests from LR coming in and talking flight model. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to that conversation because these guys are pretty damn well versed. You know.
Yeah, pretty well known.
You can say names if you want, but I'm looking forward to it.
No, but yeah, Liberty's Reapers. So
Liberty's Reapers, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always like to be able to have. In fact, I was thinking that we should probably do a few or have a few different episodes with some people for the PvP community talking about what changes they'd like to see. We'll talk about that later, though, obviously. Let's get back on this.
Of course. So, Gladius versus Gladius. This is in the 4.0 build. This is what it looks like now reflected in the 4.1 build. So we have 2 kilometers, 4.6, and 9.7. I feel like these are a little bit more grounded now. They actually kind of make sense, I think. Because what that does is it creates a proper role for the stealth fighters in the first place. Otherwise, everybody's running like weird stealth metas, and hey, I can run an F7A with the same signature as, like, say, a Saber.
Yeah, but hold on. These aren't the same loadouts.
These are the same loadouts.
Look at the power. The shields and the power is totally different.
Oh, let me double check. Hang on. Did I forget one shield? Oh, it is not the same. You are correct. Let me fix. Targa. Now it should be the same. Okay. So we have...
You don't have enough power for all of that? What the hell is that about?
No, because we never use this.
Oh.
You never use... where was life
Wait,
support?
you don't want to turn off radar. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had the wrong one. So, yeah, not enough power.
No, there's something right here. Check the power plant on that. What's the power plant?
Power plant was the stealth one, right? Is that what you wanted, or did you want competition for that as well?
Oh, no. Yeah,
I wouldn't. Been running it?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess if you're looking at a full stealth build on it. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It was like a partial stealth. So this is a hybrid build. Let's do the Starheart because competition will give like more power options. And honestly, 10 clicks is going to be a matter of like, are you getting locked on by Firebird? That's why I wouldn't run that in the first place. The power plant makes it way too loud. Yes, it is nice to have like full power distribution, but at the same time, that's kind of detrimental if you're trying to avoid like getting, missile spammed at certain locations.
So here's my thing too about talking about disabling the life support. Yeah, definitely use it, disable it to get the extra point if you need it. Typically, I leave it on. I don't right now, life support is kind of worthless, I suppose. But at some point, I think it's going to be something that's going to mean more. And I try to balance around the idea as if it did mean something. But yeah, as of right now, just turn it off if you can. Problem is that every time you switch modes, it's going to come back on. You gotta navigate over to it. You can't quick key it, which is terrible.
It's a horrible UI design in the first place for that one.
Yeah. It's just surprising.
Okay. I'm gonna switch over to the Saber. Let me make sure it's the proper build. This is Shimmers, Sonic Light. I think this switched over to Stealth Grade, so military bracers are the only one that need to be changed. Nothing saved, as I was hoping. Just give me a second. The Saber still feels like it's pretty viable for like stealth, but again, it's going to be a support role. It's not like a main dogfighter. It never has been because it can get outrated by like any light fighter at that point.
That's
even
not true.
Like the Hornet.
Not even true anymore.
So
People literally just kite you and keep them in front of them at this point. That's one of the things they want
yeah,
to work on in the flame model. It's good. It's pretty bad. There's
it's pretty
no
bad. Yeah.
pushing ability. Yeah, it's anyway. Continue.
So the signature, you don't see too much of, actually it's like doubled. So 5 clicks for EM if you're running full stealth regardless. This is what it is right now. I don't think like we were saying before, it's probably going to be more like about like 4 clicks depending on like which radar, actually scanning and trying to find the target in the first place. Light
Yeah.
fighter is probably going to be more about like 4 clicks. We're kind of discussing that before.
You also want to
Um,
again. You want to make sure that you understand, and this is something for those that are familiar. But when you're looking on your dash or whatever, you'll see the
yeah.
EM signature on the power management, and then you'll see 2 numbers, right? So under that little electric bolt, you got, let's say in this case, 5K. Under that, let's say it says 1K. That 1K is like surrounding interference, basically.
Yep.
What's the exact formula? I don't. People say basically you subtract that number from the above number, but it's not exact.
It
But that,
isn't, and I forget what the
yeah,
actual like equation is. Itachi would have been a really good person to ask on this, because he would be like, "Oh yeah, break down according to my calculation. You do this, and
yeah.
give us an actual like spitball number that was proper." So yeah. Um. So the question that I was going to ask is, do you have any like how to say this? Which PvP focused ships benefit the most from the component changes? If you
Benefit
had
the
to like,
most?
yeah, which ones do you think the stealth ships actually have like their role properly established in the verse after these changes have been made?
This is hard to say. I think the ships that stand to benefit the most from ships being less stealthy are probably ships that don't rely on stealth. Um, and the ships that also benefit the most are probably going to be like a Shrike and a Firebird too, because now
Mm-hmm.
you even more so a missile magnet with higher EM, because most people are using electric magnet. Well, what are the missiles on the Firebird? The electric magnet, the EM missiles?
They are the Thunderbolts. Yeah,
Yeah, so
you can
I
swap
mean,
them out for like Chaoses or something else, but it's all about preference. I think
I
the
mean,
EM is
yeah,
still king for like missiles, right?
yeah. As of right now, people are basically all on EM missiles for good reason. Um, I think they fixed the missile indication. You have to go into your, just let everybody know, to get that indication or that alert. I think you have to go into your advanced HUD and turn it on though, is what somebody said on point one. I got to double
Mm-hmm.
check that, but somebody was telling me that's the. Oh no, that was in one of the notes. Pretty sure.
That was one of the notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find that later if you want. Rocco says it used to be subtract ambient from output, but you didn't need it to be exact. It could just be a rough guess.
User subtract ambient
This
and
is like
output.
previous flight model,
Okay.
I think is what he's referring to here.
Yeah. No, I've noticed, Taki. I've definitely noticed that it makes a difference, though. It definitely makes a difference, and when you're viewable. So for example, when you're doing one of the let's say you're doing one of the missions over by the asteroid field in Pyro, there's certain pockets that are high and almost as high as maybe what your signature may be if you're like in a Guardian and you're not getting blown out of the sky immediately. My advanced HUD only shows up when I turn it off, working as intended. Oh, you don't like the advanced HUD?
The advanced HUD
What?
is fairly decent. I like it.
It's very decent. It puts everything right in front of you. What? Ah, that's the first time I heard that.
Yeah, I
Okay, well,
actually,
whatever. I mean, if
I don't know.
that's your
I've
thing.
had nothing but like decent experiences with the
Well, because you could
the advanced
see,
HUD.
yeah, you could see your speed
You get all the
right
information that you
there.
need.
When you're in
Yeah,
an intense fight, you're not taking a lot. You're not spending a lot of time taking your eyes off the target if it's like a face to face. Now, this is obviously like light fight, a lot of movement happening, right? You got to
right.
be very
Yeah,
focused on that fight. You don't want to take your eyes off. And having the advanced HUD, you got your boost and your speed right there. It's really nice. You don't use Rocco. Nobody gives a shit. Oh, I do,
man.
but I have to turn it off in order to have it actually show up. Oh, that's interesting. Nice. Oh, that's reversed. If you go in through your menu, you don't have to turn it off every time you play. If you go in through your general settings, you can actually turn it on. It's under default HUD, I think is what it's under, if I remember correctly. I switch that on, and from now on, it's as soon as I get into the ship, it's always on, and it works for almost everyone. I'm sure there's some people having weird issues like you, honestly.
No, there's you know how inconsistent like performances in this game. It would be not surprising whatsoever if that were actually happening to somebody else, right?
Rocco,
And
YouTube
then you were
plug.
seeing like different. So this is one that I personally foresee being used a lot, especially when they fix the nose turret on this thing. The Hornet Ghost Mark II, I think, is going to be like a main ship by a lot of like PvP sweats. Just a guess, because I mean the signature changes are it's still like it's decent for like a heavy fighter with that like DPS output. What you're getting is actually pretty good for performance just overall. I don't know if I'd run stealth on this, or I would probably run like instead of the shimmer shields, probably something a little bit better, like the competition, like we were talking, because it
What
didn't
was the
look like it.
difference? Yeah, what was the difference between the shimmer shields and the Tigers, for example?
The Targus right now doesn't have the guns because right now Urkel doesn't have a way to adjust those like properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, yeah, they have no idea what balance means. Oh, I like this guy's speaking my language. Or girl, whatever, I don't care. They have no idea what balance means. Hornet Ghost Mark 1 has stealth components and the Hornet Ghost Mark 2 has military components. Yeah.
by stock, right? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. Like it's the same thing with the Saber. They have like military power plants or like coolers in the Saber, and it doesn't make any sense why I would like start off with that and not something that you had to gradually like replace over time. I think that's why they do it. They want you to grind for like certain components that you're missing in your like build, right?
I
But
mean,
or
personally,
because the designer doesn't play the game. That could also be the case.
yeah, personally, I think that the stealth was decent where it was at, depending on the ship, though, because I think at certain ships it was just ridiculous. And I know at one
Hmm.
point with the Saber, it was like the thing was literally falling off radar over 500 or 600. It was
Yeah, it
crazy.
was crazy.
Like that was
That was
just
prior to 4.0.
yeah.
That
I'd
was
be in
insane.
the middle of a dogfight with them, and they'd be disappearing off my radar. I have to keep so that was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's whatever. I mean it's whatever. I like where the Talon's at, so
I
I've
mean
always
the
liked the
Mark II.
Talon.
So I think we're going to see like another variation of the Murder Hornet this coming patch, because you can swap out. I know you can do the top cannons. I'm not sure about the bottom nose turret, if that's actually compatible with the like F7A to the Mark II Ghost.
That's a
That's a
good
really good
point,
question.
by the
So
way. Yeah. I also think balance is only what they think about when something is broken. That's true. They probably try to stop balancing things according to the broken ship.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're too focused on ship sales to the point where balance isn't really concerned until it's too late. We're at a point where we have all these ships that just make no sense in like a full like balanced video game in the first place, and that's a problem, right?
Well, you have to consider too, like we were talking about this earlier. The fact that there's
Hmm.
no physicalized components in the
The
F7A and
Mark
stuff
II.
like that. Yeah, the Mach 2.
Hmm.
Like, why is there no physicalized components in those? They're literally the newest. Like they should have been, but they shipped them. Like they quickly put them together and shipped them to make money, and that's what it was about. And so instead of like actually taking the time to make sure like it was gold standard, I don't know what standard it is. I forget what's under that, but it's obvious they're doing stuff like that. I don't know. So that's
Right,
part of
right.
the.
Um, I would say okay. So I was gonna say also just a reminder, if you guys want to discuss any of this with us as like say a live caller tonight, just before like kind of like forget about it, feel free to like pop into the Discord. We'll be taking calls like pretty shortly here. So if there's like something you want to kind of like ask about like components, we can actually look up some of the builds too with you and kind of throw something together. I
Yeah.
know Doomed had a question about like a certain build, and I'll get probably back to him after this. But yeah, the last question I actually have for you, Elder, and probably just kind of like ask the chat itself is: do you predict any ships being the meta in 4.0.1?
I,
My
I have a
guesses would
hard,
be
I
Hornet
have a
Ghost and
hard
maybe the
time.
Talon.
So here's the thing I'm going to say. I do have a hard time with the with saying meta now because of the fact that there's actual use for larger, heavier hitting ships. I mean,
Hmm.
I probably it depends. Um, because Firebird is pretty meta at this point. I mean, yeah, you shoot some missiles and you can't really go wrong.
I mean, I'm not asking you to create like a ship tier list, like you're going to create a list and then, 3 days later, so Virgil can just roast it. Nothing like that. Okay. It's just like personal thoughts. Like what, like say pick like 4 ships. What do you think is going to be like kind of a mainstream fighter that you're going to see like used pretty frequently on the field? Maybe that's a better way to put it instead of using meta, right?
So what's going to happen is you're going to come across probably F8s, F7s. When they die in either or of those ships, Firebirds.
Firebirds.
In that order.
We'll come back in that.
That's what happens. I see that happen time and time again. We go out, right? If I'm running solo, I'll be in the Talon, right? Kill them. And then all of a sudden 3 Firebirds show up. Right. So coincidence? I think not. Like there's no Firebirds anywhere. And then all of a sudden you got missiles, 6, 12 missiles coming at you. You know what I mean? So that's basically what you're probably going to see. It's going to stick with F8s, F7As.
Whole like last resort
or
fighters.
Mach 2s,
just like,
yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of like Mark
Mach
2,
2s,
like F7As or like Ghosts I think we're going to see a lot of those. The Ghost, not so much this patch, but I think we're going to see a lot of that in 0.1 because it does have that like better like stealth boost, and it still has the DPS. I would say I don't know, that's just my guess.
I heard the Tana has been doing some
hang on, are you just making that plug because Librarian is gonna probably watch us and be like,
no, I don't think Librarian watches this,
I said the Tana.
I said the Tana. We're friends, right? No, so Librarian said he was like, I've been going out, me and one other guy going out and freaking murdering people with the Tana. And I mean, Tana has a lot of firepower, if I remember correctly. It has quite a few guns on it. It's also like a glass cannon, right?
Yep.
But you don't ever see those. I mean, realistically,
it's like
you don't
see Buccaneer, right?
Yeah, you don't see. Yeah, well, yeah, you haven't been seeing many Buccaneers anymore. But you know what I have been seeing a lot of when I go into squadron battles, and I don't know why. A lot of snubs have been showing up and zooming back and forth, and the only one that ever does any real damage, literally, is the freaking Fury. So
the Fury is like a gross one. Like I've flown it myself, but the hit reg on that thing is so messed up right now that I feel gross. Like even trying to fly it around right now,
Yeah, I was within 300, firing. So and when it's not because I was face to face and I was just missing. Third partying a Fury within 300 meters of it, and every single shot was literally just nothing. It just would not hit, right? And you can adjust where you're shooting, like if the trajectory is like moving a certain way, you can adjust that a bit, but it just was like like it wasn't doing anything. There was a whole lot of movement happening, so I don't know.
Yeah. You know what that makes me think of? You were talking about like last resort fighters, how the guy that was trying to like the entire time get to you guys, he was starting off with the C2, then got rotated, switched to a Connie, then got rotated, switched to a Zeus, still rotated, and then finally ended up on the C1.
Yeah.
And it's just like, is this like the Bob's like, way of thinking, oh wait, what can I actually hit him with? I don't own any fighters. Like, what's my best freighter that I can
What did I spend more money on? I spent a ton on this one. This should be winning.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, please feel free to jump into the Discord. If you want to jump in here and have a comment or question or anything like that, please feel free to jump in. Also, if you're interested, come check out the org Discord, the 388. We won't tell you what 388 means.
What does it mean?
I just told you we won't tell you. The numbers. Don't worry about what the 388 is.
Okay.
388 is a PvP org. Please feel free to jump in. If you want, jump into VC or whatever and come hang out.
It's our boy band.
What do you say? It's our boy band. It's our Korean boy band.
Excuse me. Still trying to get over like a little bit of a cold this last week. I think with that being said, I don't see any callers, so no questions. I think we're good. I'm going to say with that, I want to thank everybody for, popping in, giving us a little bit of company. No, if you guys have anything that you want to like see for like component builds at a later time, we can do that probably at another time, but not now. I do want to say that make sure you guys go check out the YouTube. Please subscribe, go check it out. And then if you guys have anybody in mind for like a raid tonight, let us know and we'll send you guys over that way. Preferably, let's not make it a Bob. Like someone that's doing PvP,
Yeah,
someone that's in Star
PvP sub.
Citizen. That would be ideal. But if we need to find someone else, let me know. Okay? With that being said, we'll catch you guys later. Good luck back in the world, griefers. You're just going to leave it on, aren't you?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sit here for 3 seconds later.
just stare
Be
at.
awkward.
I'm just gonna stare at you guys. Bye, guys. Bye. See you later. Oh, we're totally
This is a good
off
way
the
to
air now. Oh wait.